Asterisk, stop for a second and look around you. Everything you see, the walls, the chair you're sitting on, the phone or a laptop in your hand, all of it feels so real, doesn't it? But what if I told you that none of it actually exists the way you think it does? That your entire reality, everything you believe is solid and unchanging, is actually waiting for you, waiting for your attention to bring into being. I know that sounds impossible, but listen closely, because what I'm about to share isn't just philosophy. It's not just theory. It's the truth that has been whispered by ancient spiritual masters and confirmed by the most cutting-edge science in the world, the observer effect. The moment you realize what this means, your life will never be the same again. Because the power you've been searching for, the power to change, to create, to live fully, has never been out there. It's been here inside you all along. So, if you've ever wondered why life feels like it's happening to you, if you've ever felt stuck, trapped, or powerless, then stay with me. Because today, we're pulling back the curtain. Today, I'm going to show you why your focus decides your reality, and how you can take back control of a universe that's been waiting for you to wake up. Asterisk, the truth that changes everything. If you've ever felt like life is just happening to you, like you're just a passenger on a train that someone else is driving, you're not alone. Most of us were raised to believe that reality is fixed, that life is something we simply endure, hoping for the best. We were taught that what we see is all there is, that the material world is solid and unchanging, and that our thoughts, they're just harmless whispers in the wind. But here's the shocking truth. That's a lie. The reality you experience, the people you meet, the opportunities that come to you, even the problems you face, isn't fixed. It's fluid, it's alive, and it's being sculpted every second of your life by something you've probably never fully understood: your attention. Your focus is not just passive observation. It's an act of creation. Think about it for a second. When you were a child, your imagination felt limitless, right? You could turn a cardboard box into a spaceship. You could imagine whole worlds, and for you, they were real. Then somewhere along the way, the world told you to grow up, to stop imagining, to believe in facts, to accept that reality is what it is and there's nothing you can do about it. But deep inside, you've always known there's more. You felt it. Those moments when you visualized something and it came true. Was that luck? Or is it something deeper? Science, yes, actual quantum physics, now says you were right to believe in that power. Because reality doesn't exist as a fixed, solid thing until it's observed. The observer effect isn't some abstract theory locked in a physics textbook. It's the reason your life looks the way it does right now. Let me break it down. At the smallest level, the universe is made up of energy, tiny particles vibrating, existing in a state of possibility. Not certainty, possibility, meaning they could become anything until something makes them choose, until something forces them to collapse into a definite form. What is that something? You, your attention, your observation, the very act of looking, of focusing, of becoming aware of something. That's what turns possibility into reality. And here's where it gets emotional, because what this means is that the struggles you're facing right now, the feeling of being stuck, broke, unworthy, or unhappy, none of it is permanent. None of it is carved into stone. These are just patterns, energy patterns that you've been observing, reinforcing, and unknowingly recreating every single day. But when you understand this truth, when you finally wake up to the fact that you are the observer, the creator, then everything changes. This is why so many people feel trapped. They don't know they're creating unconsciously. They let old patterns run their mind like a broken record, and then they wonder why life never changes. You've been there, right? Wanting something more, dreaming of a better life, but feeling like no matter how hard you try, the same problems keep coming back. It's not because you're weak. It's not because life is unfair. It's because you've been observing the same reality over and over again. And by doing that, you keep collapsing the same possibilities into the same outcomes. But now, you know the truth. And once you know, you can never go back. From this moment on, your life is in your hands. Because the universe isn't working against you. It's waiting on you, waiting for your next thought, your next focus, your next act of awareness, so it knows what to create next. The question is, what will you choose to observe? This is the truth that changes everything. Your life isn't written. It's being written by you. And the pen you hold isn't ink, it's attention. So, as we move deeper, remember this. You're not a victim of reality. You're the one making it real. How consciousness selects your reality. When we talk about consciousness, most people think of it as just being awake. You're conscious if you're not asleep. Simple, right? But the consciousness we're talking about here is so much bigger than that. It's not just awareness. It's the field of energy and intelligence that everything in the universe is connected to. Consciousness isn't something you have. It's what you are. And when you understand this, you realize something mind-blowing. Your consciousness is the filter that decides what reality you experience. Imagine walking into a library with millions of books. Every possible story you could read is already there. Stories of love, wealth, success, failure, joy, heartbreak, adventure, peace. All of it exists, but you can only read one book at a time. So what do? You pick. That's what your consciousness does. It chooses. Every moment, it's selecting a story, a version of reality, from an infinite library of possibilities. And what influences its choice? Your attention, your beliefs, your emotions, and the vibrations you emit. Think about your life right now. Why does it look the way it does? Why do you experience certain patterns, financial struggles, relationship issues, health challenges, over and over? It's because your consciousness has been tuned like a radio to a specific frequency. And that frequency decides what station, what version of reality you pick up. This is why affirmations alone don't always work. This is why vision boards sometimes fail. It's not about slapping positive thoughts over negative beliefs. It's about changing the state of consciousness you live in every day. Now, here's where science backs it up. Quantum physics tells us that the universe exists in a state of superposition, meaning every possible reality exists at once in pure potential. But when an observer focuses on a possibility, it collapses into form. Your consciousness is that observer. But here's the kicker. It doesn't just collapse random possibilities. It collapses the ones that match its frequency. If you live in a state of fear, lack, and doubt, guess what? You're tuning into realities that confirm those states. If you live in a state of gratitude, love, and certainty, you're tuning into a completely different set of possibilities. And this isn't just philosophy. It's physics and neuroscience. Studies in neuroplasticity show that your brain rewires itself based on what you repeatedly focus on. Focus creates structure, and structure creates experience. Here's something to think about. Have you ever noticed how, when you're in a bad mood, everything seems to go wrong? Traffic lights turn red, people annoy you, you spill your coffee. That's not coincidence, that's resonance. Your consciousness is filtering reality through the lens of your emotional state. Flip it around. Ever had a day where you felt amazing, unstoppable, and everything seemed to flow? Doors opened. Opportunities appeared. That wasn't luck either. That was your consciousness selecting realities that matched your frequency. This is why spiritual teachers have said for centuries, as within, so without. Your inner state is the blueprint for your outer experience. So how do you change the story? How do you consciously choose a new reality? You start by changing your state of being, because consciousness doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. If your identity is tied to lack, you can chant affirmations all day, but you'll still collapse lack-based realities. But if you shift into the state of abundance, even before you see evidence, your consciousness begins selecting realities where abundance already exists. This is why practices like meditation, visualization, and gratitude work when done properly. They change your state, which changes what you attract, which changes what you experience. And here's the truth. You don't have to fight reality. You don't have to force it. You just have to choose differently. Because reality isn't something happening to you. It's something being projected by you through the lens of your consciousness. As we go deeper, the question becomes, Where exactly are you placing your attention every day? Because where your attention goes, energy flows, and matter follows. Where you direct your attention. They've said it for centuries. Energy flows where attention goes. But what does that really mean? It means your attention is the currency of creation. Wherever you spend it, you invest your life force in shaping reality around that focus. Here's the part most people don't realize. Your attention is the most valuable resource you have. Not money, not time, attention. Why? Because attention creates meaning, and meaning creates your reality. Let me ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? Do you grab your phone and scroll? Do you check emails? News? Social media? If so, your attention is being hijacked by someone else's agenda before you even start your day. And guess what? That means you're unconsciously creating a reality based on their focus, their energy, their vibration, not yours. Attention is like sunlight. Whatever you shine it on grows. If you shine it on fear, fear grows. If you shine it on problems, problems grow. But if you shine it on gratitude, possibility, and solutions, those grow too. This is not just motivational fluff. It's neuroscience. Your brain has a built-in mechanism called the reticular activating system, RAS. Think of it like a filter. Out of the billions of bits of information around you, your RAS decides what gets through and what gets ignored. And what does it base that decision on? What you consistently focus on. Here's an example. Have you ever decided to buy a certain car, and then suddenly you see that car everywhere? Did the world suddenly get flooded with that car overnight? No. Your attention tuned your filter. It told your brain, this matters. Show me more of this. And reality followed. Now apply that to your entire life. If your attention is constantly on lack, stress, and what's missing, your RAS is going to make sure you see more of that. If your attention is on opportunity, abundance, and love, your brain and your consciousness will find more of that too. Here's the kicker. Most people don't control their attention. They react. They react to news, to social media, to problems. Their attention is scattered, fragmented, stolen by endless notifications. And then they wonder why life feels chaotic. But those who control their attention, those who decide deliberately where to focus every single day, those are the ones who create miracles. Now, let's bring in quantum physics. Remember, at the subatomic level, everything exists in potential until observed. Your attention is the observation that collapses possibilities into form. When you place focused attention on something, you're literally telling the quantum field, this is real. Give me more of this. So if you focus on your limitations, congratulations, you've just reinforced them. If you focus on what's possible, if you give energy to visions instead of fears, you've just instructed reality to bring those possibilities into existence. But here's where most people struggle. They focus on what they don't want, thinking they're solving it. They obsess about debt, trying to get out of debt. They worry about being alone, trying to find love. And all the while, they don't realize they're feeding those exact realities with the most powerful force they have, attention. So what's the solution? You train your attention like a muscle. You stop letting it wander into dark corners and start directing it like a laser beam. You choose to focus on gratitude every day, even when life feels messy. You choose to imagine possibilities, even when there's no proof. Because attention doesn't wait for evidence. Attention creates the evidence. Think about this. The greatest inventors, creators, and visionaries, Einstein, Tesla, Steve Jobs, what did they all have in common? Obsessive focus. They held an idea in their mind long enough, with enough energy, that reality eventually bent to match it. Here's the truth. Your life will always follow your attention. Not your wishes, not your words, your attention. So where are you placing it? On the past? On problems? On fear? Or on the future you want to create? Because what you look at becomes what you live in. Quantum physics meets spiritual science. For centuries, spiritual traditions have whispered the same truth in different languages. As within, so without. What you focus on expands. You reap what you sow. But here's the shocking part. Modern science is finally catching up. Quantum physics, the most precise science humanity has ever known, is now echoing what sages, mystics, and enlightened teachers said thousands of years ago. Your observation shapes reality. Let's start with the experiment that shattered everything we thought we knew, the double-slit experiment. Physicists fired tiny particles, electrons, at a barrier with two slits. When they weren't observing, the particles behaved like waves, passing through both slits at once, creating an interference pattern on the back wall, like ripples in water. In other words, the particle wasn't acting like a particle. It was acting like a field of possibilities. But then came the shocker. When scientists placed a measuring device to observe which slit the particle went through, everything changed. The wave of possibilities collapsed into a single outcome. The particle acted like a particle. The act of observation changed the result. Think about that for a moment. Reality was one thing when it wasn't observed, and something else entirely when it was. This is not philosophy. This is physics. And it leads to a mind-bending question. If observation collapses possibility into reality, what happens when you observe your life? Now, let's bring in spirituality. Ancient teachings have always insisted that your inner world creates your outer world. The law of attraction, manifestation, prayer, visualization, all of it points to one thing. Consciousness is primary. Matter is secondary. Your thoughts, beliefs, and attention come first. The physical form comes later. Quantum physics agrees. Before a particle becomes matter, it exists in superposition, a state of infinite possibilities. Only when observed does it choose a state. Now replace the particle with your life circumstances. Your relationships, your health, your wealth. All of them exist in the quantum field as infinite possibilities. Which one collapses into your experience? The one you keep observing, consciously or unconsciously. Here's where it gets even deeper. Spiritual science teaches that consciousness is not limited to the brain. Your mind is not a prisoner of your skull. It's a field, a vibration that interacts with everything else. This aligns with what leading quantum theorists suggest. Consciousness might be fundamental to the universe, not a byproduct of matter. Meaning, you're not inside reality. Reality is inside you. Let that sink in. So what does this mean for you practically? It means the stories you tell yourself matter. It means the images you play in your head matter. It means your state of being, what you feel every day, matters more than anything else. Because you're not a passive observer in this universe. You are a co-creator. Every thought is an observation. Every belief is an instruction to the quantum field. But here's the trap most people fall into. They think changing their life is about action alone. Work harder. Push more. Grind. Yes, action matters, but it's not the starting point. If action was the ultimate cause, then everyone who works the hardest would be the wealthiest, happiest, most fulfilled. But that's not true, is it? Because the field responds to frequency, not force. Your actions are amplified by your state, and your state is created by your attention and observation. This is why spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, and visualization have real power. They're not about magic. They're about changing your frequency to align with the reality you want. Meditation quiets the mind so you can stop collapsing the same old patterns. Visualization programs your attention to expect something new. Gratitude lifts your vibration so the field delivers more things to be grateful for. Science meets spirit right here. Observation equals creation. Your focus equals your future. Your attention creates physical form and achieving quantum coherence. Here's a truth most people never hear. The physical world you see around you is not solid. It's structured energy responding to observation. When you understand that your attention isn't just noticing reality, but actively shaping it, your entire approach to life changes. You realize that every thought, every emotion, every focus point is a signal you're sending to the quantum field, and that field is molding matter based on that signal. Think about this. Your body is constantly rebuilding itself. Every cell in your skin, your liver, even your bones regenerates over time. Your heart, It creates 2 billion beats in a lifetime without you ever thinking about it. Your nervous system fires trillions of signals a day. What organizes all of this? It's not random. It's coherence. It's the invisible blueprint of energy, guided by consciousness, that keeps you alive. Now, imagine this. If your own body is responding to your internal state, what do you think the external world is doing? Quantum physics says matter is energy slowed down to a vibration we can perceive. Spiritual science says consciousness directs that vibration. Put them together, and you have this reality-shattering truth. What you consistently hold in mind, what you feel, believe, and focus on solidifies into your physical world. So why does it feel so hard to change? Why do people visualize for weeks and see nothing? Because they're doing it from a state of incoherence. What is incoherence? It's when your thoughts, emotions, and energy are misaligned. For example, you think about wealth, but you feel lack. You affirm love, but you fear rejection. You visualize success, but you expect failure. When your mind and emotions send mixed signals, the field reflects that confusion. The result? Stagnation. No change. Same old patterns. Now, what is quantum coherence? It's when your thoughts and feelings match. It's when your inner world becomes a unified signal. You don't just think about what you want. You feel as if it's already real. You align mentally, emotionally, and energetically with the reality you desire. This is why gratitude is so powerful. When you feel gratitude for something before it arrives, your body and mind don't know the difference between imagined and real. Your heart enters a state of coherence. Your nervous system sends consistent signals, and the quantum field responds by collapsing possibilities that match your new frequency. Think about this. When you wake up in the morning and immediately check your phone, stress hits and you spiral into old emotions. You've already lost coherence for the day. But when you wake up, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and choose what you want to feel, gratitude, love, joy, you've started broadcasting a new reality. This is not theory. Neuroscientists like Dr. Joe Dispenza have shown through brain scans that when people meditate on new possibilities, their brain and body start behaving as if those possibilities are already real. Stress hormones drop. Healing chemicals rise. Heart rhythms stabilize. You literally become your future before it happens. And when that happens, life has no choice but to catch up. Here's the secret formula for achieving quantum coherence. Get still. Stop reacting. Decide what reality you want to experience. Be clear. Generate the emotion of already having it. Not hoping, not wishing, feeling. Hold that state until it becomes familiar. Because the familiar is what your brain wires into your personality. When you do this, your brain no longer predicts the past. It starts predicting the future you've chosen. Your field of energy changes and reality follows. So what's the takeaway? You don't need to force the universe. You don't need to hustle until you burn out. You need to align internally. Because when you are coherent, the quantum field has no choice but to organize matter around your signal. Breaking free from patterns, becoming the silent observer, and releasing your old identity. Everything we've explored so far, the observer effect, the power of attention, coherence, is building toward this one truth. To create a new reality, you must become someone new. Here's the problem. Most people try to change their life while holding on to the identity that created their current circumstances. They want wealth but cling to the identity of someone who never has enough. They want love but keep wearing the armor of someone who fears rejection. They want freedom but live like a prisoner to old habits, old emotions, and old stories. The harsh truth? You can't bring your old self into your new reality. Because your identity, the thoughts you think, the emotions you rehearse every day, the habits you repeat, is the blueprint for your current life. If nothing changes within you, nothing changes around you. So how do you break free? You start by becoming what I call the silent observer. The silent observer is the version of you that can see the mind without being the mind, that can watch the storm of thoughts and emotions without getting swept away. Why is this so important? Because 95% of what you think, feel, and do today is a replay of yesterday. It's unconscious. It's a loop. You wake up, feel the same stress, check the same notifications, think the same thoughts, drive the same route, talk to the same people, feel the same emotions, and then you wonder why life looks the same. You're not living. You're remembering. You're rehearsing the past and calling it the present. The silent observer breaks that cycle. When you close your eyes, breathe, and simply watch your thoughts without reacting, something incredible happens. You step out of the loop. You become bigger than the program. Suddenly, you realize, I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my emotions. I am the one who notices them. And the moment you notice, you're free. Because now you have a choice. Here's the next step, releasing the old identity. You let go of who you've been so you can become who you choose to be. This is the part most people fear because the old self feels familiar, even if it's miserable. The brain loves the familiar. That's why change feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is not danger. Discomfort is evolution. Ask yourself, who do I need to stop being? What thoughts no longer serve me? What emotions am I addicted to? Anger, guilt, shame, that keep me in the past. Then, decide who you will be instead. Not someday. Now. Because the quantum field responds to your state of being, not your excuses. Identity shift equals reality shift. If you want love, become love. If you want abundance, become abundance. If you want peace, become peace. Not when life gives it to you, but before, because that's how life gives it to you. Here's the beauty of it all. You don't have to figure out the how. That's the universe's job. Your job is the who. Who are you being? What signal are you sending? Because the universe isn't judging you. It's not punishing you. It's responding to you. It's saying, show me who you are, and I'll show you a reality that matches. So today, as you finish this video, ask yourself, what will I choose to observe? What will I choose to feel? Who will I choose to become? Because your future is not a destination you're traveling to. It's a frequency you're tuning into, and the dial is in your hands.